Hey guys, what's up? Film Buff here. Um, so I just kind of wanted to get at two main points tonight. Um, so first off, I'm gonna review Us. I just saw that, and I'm gonna get into spoilers, but like also my problems with like the YouTube community and other people who are also talking about this movie. Nothing personal or anything, just like it's petty as shit. It's basically just a word. But all right, so I guess we can start with that because it's probably the weakest point. Um, so you know how you guys see like, oh, so and so movie explained. Why? Fucking why? The movie more often than not tells you pretty well. Unless you're a fucking buck-toothed jackass, you should be able to pick up on it. So, like, for example, Infinity War. I saw a lot of people making explained videos about that. You fucking know what happens. It tells you. You see it. People died. You saw Thanos snap. Earlier in the movie, they said his goal was to snap and Half-Life. He did it. So, fuck off with that, alright? If you want to like make videos and say, oh, it's an analysis or a breakdown or just spoiler talk, that's way better. It's more accurate, and you're not I don't know, I guess lowering the bar or misusing a word, because let's face it, you're not really explaining shit. You're not. You're just talking about the movie, and if you think you're explaining anything, well, you're just basically restating what the movie already told the person who watched it, so there's just no fucking point. All right, so that little rant aside, let's get into the movie. So positives. I love the entire cast. They all did a great job, especially the kids. And Tim from Tim and Eric, he was actually like, I preferred him as like the disgruntled dad to his like tethered self, because he was a little bit more, I don't know, honest and funny. That was pretty cool. Winston Duke, pretty great, awesome. Like you watch him as M'Baku, and he's like, you know, really intimidating and shit. And now he's like this like generic 80s dad. which is pretty cool. I like it when actors can, you know, like flip flop and like play against type. And Lupita Nyong'o, also really great. Like everyone did a good job acting wise. Um, let's see. The concept's really fucking great. And the way that they evolve the concept as the story progresses, and you see that it's not just affecting one family, but two, then three. It's affecting everybody, and it's really a holy shit moment when you kind of figure that out. So everything taking place from like the beginning of the movie all the way up to like sort of the last act, I loved. It was all very, very good. It was very suspenseful. I wasn't like 100% like horrified, but I was on the edge of my seat. It was very suspenseful. It was very tense, and I felt that it had appropriate uses of humor and moments of like terror and creativity as well. This movie is very creative. Like there's some things like they take, like some characters take advantage of the fact that because these things are basically clones, that like because they kind of can mimic each other, using that to their advantage. So like Winston Duke, he slams his nose against something to keep his tethered self from attacking him, which I thought was really cool. And at one point, the son backs up and causes the other version of himself to back up into like fire, which is pretty cool. Like it's little sparks like that are really nice touches. Um, Now I think that I got all the pos. Oh wait, no, the music. The music is fucking gold. Whoever was in charge of that, awesome, did great. Now the negatives. I promise we're good to the negatives. So my two big complaints with the movie. One, the entire time they're giving you visual cues on what is going on. So you see rabbits in the beginning, and if you keep up with cloning at all, like I'm not saying you're any normal person does, but like I've just heard it in passing, and I've even looked it up a few times. But like a lot of the main test subjects and animals for like cloning, sheep, lambs, and rabbits. So we only get like one of those, but I thought it was really cool, and there were like plenty of rabbits, so and there are also way more people, so it kind of gave you this idea, and there are also other like visual cues that go on throughout the movie. They kind of signal towards this maybe being cloning, especially the facility where the tethered are kept. Now, um, that's a really cool concept. It's a really cool idea, and I think it would have been better if they had kept it visual. Like that's my biggest complaint with it with any movie ever is if you need to follow the rule of show don't tell unless you really fucking have to, but even then I still think you should like try to avoid it if you can, especially if you're making a horror movie, because a lot of it, if you make a good horror movie, is reliant on, you know, us figuring shit out. That's a lot of fun for, especially for me as an audience member. But I know like um, Johnny Sixpack or Jane Popcorn, when they go to see like, you know, a movie, they don't really get that in depth. They go, that was fun or that sucked, and then they just kind of forget about it, or maybe they'll buy the DVD when it hits Walmart. Um, but like I just think you should have kept to your guns on that, Jordan. I don't know, because like you're writer, director, producer. You, this was clearly your decision, um, or his decision. I don't know if he's fucking watching this, but that was choice number one that I did not like. Now choice number two is the biggest issue with the movie. So in the beginning of the movie, we basically get like a parent swap situation, whatever the fuck that Lindsay Lohan movie was, where like the the girl or the mom played by Lupita Nyong'o, when she was younger, they went to like the beach, and her tethered self swapped places with her, and it was they didn't show much of it in the beginning, which kind of raised a bit of a flag for me, of like I hope they don't go a certain direction. And because if you watch the trailer, at one point when she sees her other self, she goes, "Oh," and then like she gets strangled. So obviously there was some conflict that went down, and they didn't show that in the beginning like I thought they would, and so they kept showing it in spurts. And so I was thinking, is it possible they could have switched places? And then at the end of the movie, they pretty much straight up say, yeah, they did. And dude, I gotta say, I'm not a fan of it, because like I saw it coming, which is never a good sign. B, it's kind of been done before, like a lot. Like, here's my thing: if you're gonna do like a swap places thing, you should try your best to be as creative as possible with it, and or maybe do some like changes, in some way, shape, or form. You got to make it more interesting than just that, and you can't just like, you know, throw it out like it's a big fucking surprise. Uh, because half the time, like as I mentioned, I saw it coming, so it's kind of hard to do that. So for that reason, and also if you go back and you watch it, and I'm going to watch it again this Saturday because I want to be sure of my feelings. Like, these are just my first reactions, but I'm pretty sure the rest of the story doesn't make sense from what I remember. Like, there are instances where you see Lupita, as we still think of her as a normal human being, where she does something that you would expect one of the tethered to do, like maybe like just little mannerisms, like in the way she kills a character, or like when she like starts chitting her like teeth together or whatever, and you're like, okay, you gave subtle hints, but it's not enough. And also, there are just other things that don't make sense. So like at the beginning, she's like, I don't want to go to the beach. And it makes sense if you're viewing it from the point of, oh, she encountered her tether self and she got away and she just, and like maybe she doesn't even believe it herself and she doesn't want to or whatever. That's fine. That's acceptable. But like if you rewatch it from the view of, oh, I don't know. I know what's there, and I don't want to fucking encounter that again because there's a chance it could fuck my shit up. She definitely wouldn't have that happen, you know? And also, there's the other thing of like the switch roles. It it makes sense that only one of them could talk, but but if that's the case, like if the others have the ability to talk and she swapped places with them, then how come she couldn't teach them to talk? Like they're just like little things that don't add up. And I know I sound like a raving madman if you haven't seen the movie, or if you have, I don't know if you can keep track with what I'm saying, but they're just like a bunch of little things, little inconsistencies, and like little plot holes, and I'm very like particular about those in most movies. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I was hoping for like a more solid foundation for this movie, but unfortunately it did not deliver. On the upside though, I do feel that if you wanted to, you could possibly edit out the explanation and still have it the movie makes sense, and you could also edit out that fucking twist and the movie could also still make sense as well. So I mean, if you're an editor and this movie comes out some point and you really have the hankering to do that, you could. But yeah, those are my thoughts. But if I were to give it like a final score, I'm not usually for this, but I'd give it about a 6 because the extra point is for like the parts of creativity and like, you know, little attentions to detail aside from that fucking twist. But yeah, a lot of it does kind of go together in a nice little package. Just the ending that's just kind of shit. So yeah, if you can forget about that, you're good. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope to make more content for you guys soon, and